Hey, what's going on, guys and gals? Today we're going to be talking about how to take the X32 rack, and you can do this with the producer, you could do it with the compact, and X32 edit, and we're going to make a separate front of house and monitor mix scene. Okay. Now the first thing is I'm using the current firmware 4.06 for the rack, and version 4.3 for X32 edit. Now, what we're going to do is channel 1 through 16 are going to be our actual inputs. And then 17 through 32 is going to mimic channels 1 through 16. Now, the most important thing you want to remember here is channels 1 through 16 are going to go out through the main stereo. Channels 17 through 32 are not going to go out through the main stereo. Channel 17 through 32 is for our monitor mix only. Okay, so how do we configure this? Well, channels 1 through 16 are simply that. Okay, now right now I've got them coming in through the card so we can get some signal up here. But if we come over to our inputs, it would look something just exactly like this. Okay, so as you can see now, I've lost all the signal because I'm not using inputs. I am going to be using inputs from the card, but that is your basic input routing. Now, since we're over here, if we come over to our out 1 through 16, these mix buses here, okay, as you can see, we don't have anything set for the left and right mains. Now, on this particular question that someone asked was, they said that they wanted 4 in-ear monitor outputs and 4 wedges. So that's going to give us 8. Now, we have 2 options here. We can literally come in here and take 7 and 8, which is the default, okay, for the main left and right outs. Or we can use those as a mix bus by putting them in line here and then going through our auxiliary out and using output 1 and 2 as our main left and right. Okay, so I'm just going to put everything back here like it was. And then we'll go through this and we'll see how simple it is to do. So over here on channel 17, as you can see right now, it's mimicking that card 01. So if we put this back over here like we talked about, now you'll see it's input 1. Okay, channel 1 is input 1. Channel 17 is input 1. Channel 2 is input 2. Channel 18 is input 2. So that's why this is able to do an interior split, and whatever comes in through input number 1 is going to come also into input 17. Input 2, channel 18, input 3, channel 19, input 4, channel 20, and so on. Okay? Now I'm going to go back up and put this up back over to the card. So now, what does this allow us to do? Well, it allows us to manipulate channel 1 through 16 any way that we want to that's going to go out through front of house. We can have a totally different channel strip processing on each channel, as well as effects that we want to use for the front of house. Now, since channels 17 through 32 are not going to the front of house, we can come over here to mix bus 1, and we're just going to name it input monitor 1. So now that we have this over here, we can come up here and we can select any of these channels, 17 through 32, and add those into that mix bus. Okay, now again, because we have this separated from front of house, we can take these and we can put a totally different set of channel strip processing on them. Okay, from our gates to our dynamics. to whatever you want to do, guys. Okay? None of this, channel 17 through 32, is not going to go out through the front of house. And that's basically it. That's how you set this up with your routing. Okay? It's the routing is always going to be the same. I'm just using the card ends again so we can get some signal. Okay, this would be the inputs here. The card would be the same. Your card always mimics your inputs. Okay, so let's switch that back over to card just for a second. Let's go back over to our routing, and I don't know why I close that out all the time. But let's say that we want to use all our XLR outputs for our monitors. Well, we simply come over here to inserts right here, the auxiliary out, and we're going to go left, right. Now, we can use any of these that we want to. I'm just using 1 and 2, and I'm going to do it post fader. So if we bring our meters up, as you can see, 1 and 2 now, that is our main output. If we come over here to the main fader and we pull it down, you can see the signal goes away. Okay. If we wanted to come up here and do our routing, and we wanted to use 7 and 8, the default, then you'll see, if we come up here and look at our meters again, you'll see 7 and 8 is now showing the main output as well as auxiliary outputs 1 and 2. It's an output, therefore it's called a send. We're sending it out. As you can see, the main fader affects both of those. Okay? So that's it. It's just that simple. All right? I hope this has cleared up any questions, any concerns. Somebody asked me what did I think about the cons on this. Well, personally, it's always amazed me why somebody playing would want to hear something different that's coming out of front of house. It just doesn't make sense to me. With all the years that I've been doing this, especially in the studio, this is never the case. It's just never the case. They want a true representation of what is being sent to that tape, okay, or that recording. Same way when you're out there doing the gig, okay? That's the part I don't comprehend. Why do you want to hear an overly compressed, different EQ'd, different inserts added that the people in the audience will not be listening to? It just doesn't make sense to me, but it doesn't have to make sense to me. It's whatever floats your boat, all right? Take care, God bless, and we are out of here.